I was like, this ain't for me. This ain't for me. Like, I'm not, there's no way I'm gonna be able to do this. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jay. If you are new here, if you aren't, hey girl, hey, welcome back. Today I have a story time for y'all. It ain't nothing bad, ain't nothing crazy. It's just my story about how I became a college dropout. So if you are interested in listening to that story and finding out the tea on why I was a dropout, keep on watching. Before we get started, y'all, make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you are following me on my social medias, TikTok, Instagram, all of that good stuff. Get you some tea, get you some wine, get you some water, get you some juice, whatever you drink, because I don't think the story is gonna be that long. Hopefully it's not that long, but I do like to ramble, and this is my college story. So get you a little something to drink, maybe a little snacky snack or something. Okay, so I really don't even know where to start. I wrote down some basic notes, like, you know, some bullet points on what, you know, to say, kind of like background story, why, all of that good stuff. But I'm just gonna start from the beginning. I wish I had some footage, some pictures or something that I can include in this, but this was so far back, y'all. Like, please forgive me. It was so long ago. It was way long, okay? Over 10 years long, okay? So let's go back to high school, senior year. I guess that's the time that you're supposed to go ahead and apply to colleges and go on your school tours and all of that. So let's just say I wanted to be a photographer back in the day. Okay, I really wanted to be a photographer because I always had a camera in my hand. I was always taking the pictures at all the events, the family events and all of that. So that's what I wanted to do. So I started getting like the brochures and everything for every school that I possibly wanted to go to or had an interest in. I got information from SCAD, that's Savannah College Art Design, UCF, VCU, all these schools. I even went to, what is the school in Orlando? Oh my gosh, it's blinking me out. Hold on, I gotta look it up. Dang, what is the name of the school? Bro, this can't be real. It's not even coming up. It's like a really big school, y'all. I'm blinking out. I can't even believe this. I should have been prepared. Found it. I even took a tour to Full Sail University. It's down in Orlando, y'all. That school was just like, I felt like I was in Hollywood on a movie set and I was behind the scenes. That's that type of energy that it was giving me. It was a great school, but I think it was like way too advanced for me because I wasn't really into photography like that. I wasn't a photographer already, you know what I'm saying? But I had interest in photography. So I went to all these school tours and I started applying. I can't remember who I applied to. I know for sure I applied to UCF because that was like my #1 school that I wanted to go to. I applied to, I can't even remember. This was so long ago. Mind you, I graduated high school in 2011. So this is around the time I was applying mad long ago. I was on my senior trip to Universal Studios and I had got a text from my mom. She had opened up my mail, y'all. She opened up my mail and she's like, oh my God, you got accepted. And so I was like, okay, to where? To where? Where are we going? So the school that I got accepted to, and the only school that I got accepted to, why I don't know, but hear me out, hear me out. We got accepted to Barry University down in Miami, Florida, y'all. So I was taking my talents down to South Beach, okay? We were going to South Beach and we were gonna turn up, learn a little bit of photography, and yeah, that's where we were going. So that's that. All right, so it's time for me to actually start registering and doing all this extraness, and come to find out they didn't have any dorm space available for me. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to school. They don't have no space for me. Like, what am I gonna do? Like, I don't know what to do. So I ended up taking a year off from school until the next fall term semester. And so I was behind, technically, I was behind a year when I started school. I was a part of the Berry 16 graduation class instead of the 15 class, but it's okay. So I just remember my uncle, my aunt and her baby daddy, my uncle basically, took me down to, oh, my sister was there. Yeah, my sister was there because we had went to Daytona first. So my sister and her girlfriend was there. Rest in peace, Sheikaboo, love you. But they took me down to Miami to move in. And y'all, I guess because they didn't have room for me the year before, they saved me a spot just for me, okay? Just for me. I got there and I had my own room. Like, I had no roommate. Well, technically I didn't have a roommate, but I didn't have a roommate. I did share a bathroom with another girl on the other side, but I had my own room. I didn't have to share my room with anybody else. And it was a nice size room, y'all. It was, I had a little living room space, I had the bedroom, and I had a little office. I had it set up nice. If I could find videos or pictures or anything from back then, I would insert it, but it was really nice, y'all. So I was super nervous going into school. Like, I can't, let me back up. First of all, I remember before going to school, before I even got to the fall term semester that I was starting school, I remember going down there to orientation. And I think it was like a few months before school actually started. I can't remember. Please forgive me. Me and my mom, my parents, my sister took me to orientation. Sorry if my memory is a little fogged because, y'all, I be trying to forget stuff from that time period these days. But for the sake of the video, I need to remember. But I remember going to orientation. I had a ball, y'all. I met so many cool people. Like, I was low-key shy back then, but I wasn't like, I didn't have anxiety like that back then. I was sociable, but I still didn't want to stay at the dorm by myself that night after orientation. They had shrimp. They did a whole catering thing for us. They had a whole party for us. They had stuff for the parents. And I did not want to stay that night because we were able to stay in the dorms and, you know, get a feel of how it's going to be, like dorm life and everything. I had a great dorm mate, y'all. I think it was like 2 days that we got to stay. But the first day I didn't stay because I was scared. I don't know. I didn't want to be left there alone. But that second day, or was it 3 days? I can't remember. I just feel like it was a whole weekend, like a Friday, Saturday, and a Sunday type of situation. And I remember having the best roommate ever. She was so sweet. I can't even think of her name right now. She ended up not going after. I think she ended up going the semester that I was supposed to start. And then by the time I got there, she wasn't there anymore. So yeah, and we kind of like lost contact. But that was my girl. She was so sweet. Shout out to her, my first ever roommate. It was really cool. Like, I can picture it in my head, like, of everything, but I can't really, I don't know, put it into words. But it was a great time. Orientation was a great time. Now fast forward back to me going to, like, moving in and everything and starting. My parents didn't originally come down until I think a week after school started because they had work or something, and I think I had to be there. I can't remember. I don't remember the exact reason why my sister and my aunt and my uncle took me down there, but my parents then ended up coming till the week after, and they brought my car and they brought a whole bunch of other stuff for my dorm or whatever. So that was that. I was going to classes and I met a few friends, a few acquaintances or associates or whatever you want to call them people. I met some good people back then, and I was going to classes. I remember going to my photography class and hating it. Like, absolutely hating it, because it's not what I thought it was gonna be. You know, I'm thinking I'm taking digital photos. No, they started us off with, I don't even know what it's called. Darn, I can't even tell you what it's called. Lightroom? No. They started us off with like the black and white photos where you had to develop your own negatives and do that whole process. And if you got any ounce of light in your little container with your negatives, it was a wrap. You're gonna have to do the whole project over. And I had to do it over a couple of times. And if you don't get the mixture right for the solutions to like develop your pictures or whatever, y'all, I was having the worst semester ever with the photography class, because like I said, it wasn't what I thought it was gonna be. It was just not what it was supposed to be. But I did get I think I got a B in that class. It was like a B minus, almost a C, because I just was not, I just didn't like it. So that was that. I met a few people. I can't even remember their names at this point, because like I said, I be trying to forget that time frame of my life these days. I know a couple of people's names, but you know. The first semester went by and everything is everything. We had to pack up the dorms at the end of the semester because we changed rooms and all of that good stuff. And at the end of the semester, I remember getting like letters saying, oh girl, you owe like $5,000 to stay in that room, and you need to pay it by such and such date, or you ain't gonna have no room, or you can't even come back to campus, okay? You can't even come back to school. So I'm just like, what? How? I got financial aid, I got a couple grants, I got, you know, I got money to pay for this. So what's going on? Why is it not being paid for? So long story short, I ended up not going back to school because I didn't have $5,000. My parents didn't have $5,000 just laying around back then. Like, that wasn't, no, it was a no. So I had to go back home, and I had to start working. So that's what I did. I became a college dropout during that time, and something just didn't seem right with me. Like, it just wasn't right. It wasn't right at all. So as I was working, I think I was working at TJ Maxx. Yeah, I was working at TJ Maxx at the time when I came back home. And I was just like, I gotta get back to school. This working life is not for me, okay? I didn't want to work. I did not want to work. So I was like, you know what? I got a car. The car is worth some money, at least $5,000, okay? The car is at least $5,000. So I told my dad, I was like, listen, we're gonna sell the car. And I'm just not gonna have no car. It's fine. It's fine. I don't need to go nowhere. I really don't need to go nowhere. I'm gonna stay on campus. We ended up selling the car. Like, a whole semester had went by. So now here it is, like I'm like 2 years behind at this point, because I was supposed to go back. I went back in fall. Like, I started in fall, but it was the fall of 2012. And so by the time I went back, it was the fall of 2013, because I missed spring semester basically. So I went back then, seen a lot of my friends that, you know, I had met previous year when I first started. A lot of them were still there, and they had new friends and stuff. So I was like getting reacquainted with the group again. I met more new friends. I became like really good friends with like 5 of them. Like 5 of them was like my 𝐼𝐒 Like, I didn't go nowhere without them, okay? We experienced some things together. Like, that, my whole college year, going back the last time, it was an experience, y'all. I had the best years of my life, no lie. Like, literally, it was the best years of my life until it wasn't, okay? We had a good time. It was a time. We rode the bus for the first time. Like, that crew, I love them. love them, saying it lightly. But I went back to school, and I remember having art classes because it's a part of my major. Like, I have to take art classes, and they wanted me to take art history, y'all. I done sold my car. This teacher was like, hey, y'all gotta go to this museum, and y'all gotta write a paper and some other stuff. I can't even remember at this point, but he wanted us to go off campus. And I'm like, how am I supposed to go off campus? I ain't got no car. And I didn't really pay too much attention to that class until the last minute, and I was like, oh shoot, I gotta actually go to this place. I can't look stuff up online. And at that point, I knew, I was like, this ain't for me. This ain't for me. Like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to do this. Ended up doing the class, taking the class, or doing an assignment or whatever. But I got a C in that class because I hated it. Like, art history was so boring to me. Like, I can't even explain it. Like, history in general bores me, but I know I need to know it. But art history, bro, you can miss me with that one. You can miss me with that. Yeah, at that point I was like, I know I don't like photography anymore. Like, this is not fun to me. Like, I need to get out in the field and start taking like regular pictures, you know what I'm saying? This is not what I thought it was gonna be. That was my whole thing. So then at this time, my little sister was going to FIU and she had a car. So I would have the car one week, she would have the car one week. We was going back and forth, back and forth. One of my sisters was also staying in Miami at the time. She was living in Fort Lauderdale, actually, and my little sister was at FIU. One weekend, I had brought her the car. I think it was like a Friday. I had brought her the car, and then the very next day, I remember exactly what I was doing, but I'm not gonna say what I was doing. I got a phone call, and my mom was like, your sister was in a car accident. And I lost it, because my sister in a car accident, I don't know how bad it is, I don't know what is what, and I be worrying, okay? I worry to death about everything sometimes. But I just knew she was in a car accident, so I called up my older sister who was in Fort Lauderdale at the time, because I was like in the middle. It's like Fort Lauderdale, me, and then my sister, my little sister. So I called her. I said, hey, we need to get to my little sister. Like, we gotta go get her because she's in a car accident. And it was gonna take her some time because Miami traffic it's nowhere compared to Atlanta traffic or Houston traffic, but they be having some traffic. From Fort Lauderdale to me to FIU, it's a little ways. So it took her some time to get to me, and then it took us some time to get to her. Thank God my sister was okay. Everybody that was in the car was okay, but the car was not. I'd never seen the car after that. I really wanted to, but I was like, maybe I shouldn't, because I know I would have lost it. But the car was totaled. She said it was totaled, okay? Yeah, it was totaled. So that ended up happening, and so my little sister did not want to be in Miami at all, no more. I was like, I don't really care to be here either, because the school situation just ain't working out for me. I don't really care for this, you know. It's not giving what it was supposed to give. I got another one of those letters where it's like, hey, you owe $3,000. I ain't had no car. I ain't had no car to sell this time. So I had to pack up my stuff. And I remember my roommate telling me, she was a psychology major, love her to death, but girl, she would like psychoanalyze you all the time, and it used to be so annoying, but I knew she was just doing it out of love and because she was low-key practicing, you know what I'm saying? But I remember her saying, you can we can write a letter to the dean, we can write letters to such and such, the principal, you know. I was like, girl, if I wanted to stay, I would stay, but school ain't for me. I said, it's not for me. I know during that time, I was just like, I knew I always had an attitude, or I just was like standoffish during that time. So I knew I kind of like rubbed her the wrong way when I was telling her like, girl, no, leave me alone. I'm gonna do what I want to do. I'm not staying here. I'm leaving. So anyway, that was that. I remember telling her like, she was awesome. She was a great roommate. Like I during that time when I went back, it was me and her in one room. Sorry y'all, the camera had died, so if the settings look a little off, or if I'm sitting in a different position, that's the reason why. But I was gonna say that she was a great roommate. Like, that was my girl until she kind of like got on my nerves with the whole psychology thing. But she took me to get my first tiramisu cake. Like, she was a real one. She from Philly? I think she was from Philly. A lot of people was from Philly at that school. Like, that's one thing too. That's one thing, because Barry is a Catholic private school, private college, okay? Now, you would think it was an HBCU. I swear it was so many black folks, black students. Like, it was awesome, y'all. It was so awesome. Like, Barry was great. I had a work study job. I remember one time I did not want to be there. My two friends that got me the job, they weren't there that one day, and I was like, I don't want to be here. So I told the manager or whatever, and I was like, hey, I'm about to leave. And usually he don't check the sheet where you write your time in or whatever. Usually he don't check, but I don't know why he checked this day, because we've been doing this. We was doing this. We was still in time back then, okay? We was still in time. And so this one day that I left, he called me and he was like, hey, what time did you leave? And I told him what time. He's like, so why does the paper say such and such time? And I was like, oh, I forgot to change it, because I usually just write in my time for the full day. And he was like, okay, just make sure you fix the time the next time you leave early. And I was like, oh, okay. Y'all, I was trying to get over it, because me and my friend used to do it all the time. Like, we used to too funny. But the work study job that I had, it was like a computer, it was a tech job, and we were like taking apart computers. Y'all, I used to take apart computers, put them together, install programs. I used to be a tech girly. Like, I don't know what happened. Yeah, I was like delivering computers around the school and, you know, going to fix the stuff. That was a really good work study job. Like, it was so laid back, chill. We could really do what we want besides steal time, because you ain't supposed to be stealing the people's time. But I had a work study job. A lot of my friends were from up north. They were either from Philly. They were from Philly, really. They was from Philly, Florida, New York. It was like Philly and New York was like head and head. I don't know what happened. Barry was just like, hey, I'm gonna get a whole bunch of students from New York and from Philly, and we just gonna bring them down here to Miami. And that's what happened, because it was a lot of them there. And so I had a lot of great times back then. Like, I wish I had pictures and videos from back then, but I wasn't vlogging. I wasn't into YouTube until I came home from school. Let me see. I feel like I'm getting off track. Let me look at my notes. So yeah, I had really good people that I was around. Like I said, we did a lot of things together. We was living the Miami life, okay? We was at Aventura Mall. We was at South Beach, okay? Like, we was living it up back then. We was at parties. We were at clubs. Your girl had a time back in the day. Like, oh my gosh, I can't even. Like, even our school had parties. Like, the actual school had like this white party where you dress up like it's a white party. Not Diddy's parties, but it was a white party back in the day. And it was just like, that was literally the time of my life. That was the time of my life. But let's go back to the reason why I left. So the reason why I left is because, for one, my sister didn't want to be in Miami no more. I didn't really care to be in Miami no more, because I wasn't feeling the major that I was in, and we didn't have no money to really stay there. I didn't have no money to stay there, and I didn't have a car to stay there to sell. You know what I'm saying? My mom came down in her SUV, her truck, and packed up my sister's room, right? All in this one truck, okay? It's an SUV. It's a Volvo XC90. It was like a 2012 or something. I can't even remember what year. 2010. I don't know. It was an old one, okay? So packed up my sister's room, and she had her own room. She had her own room, so she had a lot of stuff, and I think she ended up selling a lot of stuff, something like that. Packed up her room. Then her friend, I think her friend was going back to school, so she didn't have to like take anything with her, but she did take stuff, but it was an extra person in the car. And then we had to pack up all my stuff, y'all. We were in this car packed to the max with all of our stuff. Like, it was so crazy. 5 hours. Jacksonville is 5 hours from Miami. So we were in this car packed up for 5 hours. But we made it. God is good. We made it. That was like my college. Like, even after coming back from Miami, I tried to go to school here, to the community college. I think I took like 1 or 2 classes, but it just was not giving. Like, school was not it for me. Like, it just wasn't it. So I just never went back. I never went back. And yeah, I just started working. I went back to TJ Maxx for a while, and then I started working at Forever 21, where I met another set of good people. And I just never looked back at college. Now, I did go back and forth to Miami after I left college, like after I left, and it just wasn't the same. Like, I don't know what changed. I guess it was because I was out of sight, out of mind type of situation, that the people that I was associated with didn't really like connect with me anymore, I guess. I really don't know what happened. But I did go back a lot. I went back. I do have some vlogs from when I did go down there, and I'll link them down below so y'all can see like how life was back then. I went for Berry 16's graduation. That was like, I had a really good time, but I knew the vibes were like off. So yeah, it was just, I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say. That's how I became a college dropout. I just wasn't feeling school. I wasn't feeling the major. I wasn't really feeling the friends anymore. I was gonna be down there by myself because my older sister, she was moving back to, I believe it was, no, she stayed down there for a while. But my little sister, who I was actually close with, she was like, I'm out of here. I'm going to Orlando. So she got accepted to UCF. So she's a Knights. So anytime you see me with the UCF Knights shirt on, that's because my sister did graduate from there. And if you also see me with the FIU shirts on, that's the reason why I be wearing it, because my sister, you know, those are her shirts and then she gave them to me. Or some of them are my shirts that, you know, I have as a sister, UCF sister, you know. That's the reason why I became a college dropout. Now, if I had the opportunity to go back, would I? I might. I don't know. I might. If I do, now I've always said, if I do go back to college, then I would major in graphic design, because I love editing, I love graphics, I like making flyers and all kinds of invites. Like, I like doing that kind of stuff. I like designing. I made every logo that I've had ever, I made for like my lash business, esthetician business, my candle business, my self-care business, like every label. I was making labels, y'all. I'm a creative at heart, so I just knew if I ever go back, it's gonna be for graphic design. If I decide to go back, I don't know. But yeah, y'all, that's the story. I don't want to ramble too much longer, but that's the story. So I hope you all enjoyed it. Hope you had your little tea. I don't know what else to say, but that's the reason why I didn't go back. I'm a college dropout. Hey, school's not for everybody. So if you see this video, this is just my little story and how I didn't go back because of certain reasons or personal reasons. That's just my story. This has nothing to do with you. So I do encourage you to finish. Do everything that you can to finish if you are in college, because when you get older, things start happening, life starts happening, and then you just be like, school ain't, that ain't in my life story. And sometimes you might even want to go to school later on, but if you are in high school or you're like a freshman in college, continue to go. Continue to go. Finish school. Please finish school, because when you get my age, I'm 31. When you get my age, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard because you can either be married, you'll have kids, like you don't know what the circumstances may be when you're around this age. It's a little bit harder to go back to school. You got a full-time job, like it's hard. So do school while you can if that's something that you want to do. Like I said, school's not for everybody. But yeah, y'all, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Hopefully I didn't ramble too long. If you have any questions about my school, grades, or I don't know, like if you have any kind of questions about me being a college dropout, definitely link it down below. If I can find some of those videos from when I actually went down there, I'll link them down below. And as always, make sure you are subscribed. Follow me on all my social medias, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, y'all.